Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to another random review. Another day, another Lino Brocka film. This is Bayan, or This Is My Country from 1984. Obviously, I very recently did Cain and Abel. This is another wonderful Brocka film. After saying you couldn't really find too many of his films, this is my fourth one, and I've ordered another one, 321, which is just in DVD. But this is actually a 4K. I didn't actually realise when I'd ordered it. It's a 4K and Blu-ray. This is from The Smoking Cat, or lashakifwim.com, which is a French company. So it's actually a 4K Blu-ray combo, and there's a nice salacious picture in the middle. So The Smoking Cat has quite a few 4Ks and Blu-rays. The Blu-rays are only like €10. So obviously I accidentally ordered a few. You do have to watch out, because some of them have just got French subtitles, which is obviously fine if you're fluent in reading French or listening to French. So you have to watch out that if you're not educated enough to speak French, they've got English subtitles, which fortunately this release has. So we're back in the Philippines again. I mean, this is a film that you could have a lovely double bill with John Sayles' Matewan. It stars Philip Salvador, who was in Cain and Abel, and Carmy Martin in a smaller role than she was in Cain and Abel. There's several familiar faces if you've seen Lino Brocka films. So this one again, this one's probably more overtly political, in the same kind of vein as Manila and the Claws of Light. And this has not too subtle kind of digs of living under the Marcos dictatorship. This is about union busting, or forming a union, and how difficult it is. So Philip Salvador plays a worker in a printing press that's owned by his wife's father, who's very rich, but they don't treat their workers that well. You know, they have a celebration to commemorate the printing company, but the workers stay downstairs with their beer and their kind of limited selection of food at the celebration, whereas the bosses have all manner of things upstairs and all manners of alcoholic drinks. And Philip Salvador is a bit annoyed at this and ends up getting drunk and has a fight. And so very much like Cain and Abel, there's no kind of saints in this film. Everybody's thoroughly human. There's no mustachioed villains twirling away on their facial hair, and there's no saints. There's no paragons of virtue floating through the film. So the workers decide to go on strike, but Philip Salvador's character, Turing, gets convinced to stay on because of his wife, and he's convinced that, or he gets convinced that, you know, if they go in and cross the picket line, you know, they're not scabs or anything like that. They're still workers, and nobody could cause them any harm. Obviously, that's not true, but he needs money, as his wife is pregnant, and they literally live in an apartment where the pavement is essentially the top of a pipe. It's kind of not very well buried into the road, so essentially their pavement outside their house is the top of a pipe. There's a wonderful scene where he needs to get medicine for his wife, but it costs too much, so he asks, can we get half a bottle of everything? So he needs money. Something happens and his wife has to go into hospital, and she can't get out of hospital unless the hospital bills are paid, and of course he doesn't have money for it, so he ends up having to call on a friend who is a little bit dodgy in his business dealings, and he ends up getting roped into something to try and get money to help his wife get out of hospital with their new baby, because the hospital won't let them out until they've actually paid their hospital bills. As long as that doesn't happen anywhere else in the world, you don't have to pay for your hospital bills and stuff like that. No, that's just fantasy. And again, things just escalate, especially in the kind of job that his friend ends up pulling, which perhaps is a little bit too close to home. So again, this is another film where Brocka wonderfully manages to set the scene. You get to know about the characters. You get to make your own decisions about the characters or who you want to root for. The owners, the people on strike, the people who cross the picket line. Everybody's got their reasons for doing what they do. Very much in Mate One, this is a film of greys rather than black and whites. Well, apart from Kevin Tiggy's performance in Mate One, this one's perhaps a little bit more nuanced than Kevin Tiggy and Gordon Clapp in Mate One. And again, we see the poverty, we see people desperate to get money to survive, to protect their family and their newborn babies. We see the role of the media and the way they deal with reporting these things and reporting crime as a way of boosting their ratings and trying to get more salacious details and pushing the camera into places that really shouldn't go, out of decency and ethics, but sometimes that doesn't apply. So this is another wonderful Lino Brocka film. Again, I'm not going to go into every single plot point and every little detail. The 4K looks absolutely wonderful, as does the Blu-ray. Again, I didn't even realise I was ordering a 4K. I maybe should have noticed with the Ultra HD at the top. But again, I would go to the Smoking Cat and have a wee look, because they do have some interesting releases. Unfortunately, the extras are all in French and there's no English subtitles. So there's an hour-long look at Lino Brocka's career with Bastien and Merisona. Bayan there's a 9-minute archival piece with Vera Belmont, and there's a 2-minute interview with Lino Brocka at Cannes in 1984, talking about the film. So if you're fluent in French, you'll probably get more out of it than I did. Obviously I can understand a bit of French, but not fluently. So it's another Lino Brocka film you can actually get on a really good edition. So that's 4 Brockas that I've watched. And again, for me, there's 2 5s and 2 4s as far as marks out of 5, whatever they mean. So it's another Lino Brocka film I would highly recommend. I mean, so far out of the 4, none of them's beaten Manila and The Claws of Light. That's just a straight up masterwork. But the other 3 films aren't that far off. And again, really good acting. And Brocka knows how to set the scene and get to know the characters. And it has a fairly devastating ending, and the camera lingers appropriately on that ending. Just gives you time to think about it. Again, Brocka doesn't really, and certainly in the 4 films that I've seen, he doesn't really romanticise anything. It's just another wonderful Brocka film, so I would highly recommend Bayan, or This Is My Country, and I think there's another title as well about the edge of a knife. But as you can see, my new shelving is getting there, and I am so sad. I have made 40 index cards with label names, which is quite sad. I ended up getting 40 and then realised I'd completely forgotten about Kino Lorber, so I ordered another 20. So hopefully that should cover most of the labels. But I'll show you my shelves when they're actually finished and I spend time filling them. I will leave space to grow, obviously. To not leave space would be utterly ridiculous, as if I'm going to stop buying films. Unbelievable. I'm certainly going to keep buying Lino Brocka films if I can find them. So yeah, thanks very much for watching this random review of another Lino Brocka film. I apologise for 2 Brockas in a row, but I don't really apologise because they're wonderful films. So please let me know if you've seen This Is My Country, or what Brocka films that I haven't talked about I should try and see, and hopefully you'll join me again for more random reviews, and who knows, some of my shelves might be full by the time I do another video. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell.